my bawb, Jason Shepherd yma. Hello everyone, Jason Shepherd here. And it's another lesson of the Learn Welsh podcast. Before we start, I want to thank everybody who is watching the videos, sharing them and subscribing. We are now over 750 subscribers in just a few months, and I want to thank you all for being part of the Learn Welsh podcast community. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much. Now, today's lesson, we are going to be looking at something that a lot of students of the Welsh language find very scary to start with. But once you get to use them and you practice them, you'll be fine, and you'll find that they will make certain words and phrases easier to say. And what is that dreaded thing we are going to learn? That's right, it's mutations. Now, the lesson's about to start. Just want to let you know that the words that come on the screen in white, they are the Welsh words, and in brackets, it's the pronunciation. Well, I hope you enjoy the lesson and find it useful. And here it is. When I first started learning the Welsh language, back in the mid to late 1990s, I tried to translate a page of text from a Welsh novel using a Welsh to English dictionary. It worked well until I started coming across words in the novel that weren't in the Welsh dictionary. I found it perplexing and a little bit frustrating. It was just a few months later, when I joined a beginner's Welsh language course, that I found out why I couldn't find those words in the dictionary. They were there, but under different first letters. That was the first time I learnt about mutations. So what is a mutation, you may ask? Well, a mutation happens when certain words trigger the words that follow them to change their first letter. A mutation only happens in certain conditions and, thankfully, mutations only affect 9 letters of the Welsh alphabet. To complicate matters slightly, there are 3 distinct types of mutations. Treiglad meddal, soft mutation in English, treiglad trwynol, nasal mutation, and treiglad llais, aspirate mutation in English. When I started learning Welsh, it was hard enough getting used to all the new words I was being introduced to without also having to get to grips with letters at the beginning of words changing for what I thought at the time was for no apparent reason. As I learnt more and more Welsh, I realised that mutations actually make a lot of sense. They make Welsh words flow together better when spoken out loud, and it didn't take me long to get used to using them automatically. You'll soon become so used to using mutations that they'll become like friends to you. As with all friendships, it might take you a little while to like and trust them, but once you do, you'll be friends forever. Be prepared to fall out with them constantly at the start, though. In this lesson and the next, we are going to focus on the nasal mutation. They are only used at specific times, and even then they only affect words beginning with the letters B, C, D, G, L, M, P, R, H, or T. Now, one of the times when you would use a nasal mutation is after the word un if it's a place name. So any place name after un that begins with the letters B, C, D, G, L, M, P, R, H, or T. So for example, where I come from originally, Swansea, Abertawe does not begin with a trigger letter, so no nasal mutation. Dwi'n byw yn Abertawe. But if it begins with one of those trigger letters, such as a word beginning with the letter C, for example, Caerdydd, Cardiff, then we have a nasal mutation. Dwi'n byw yng Nghaerdydd. So now let's start looking at those trigger letters one by one and how they mutate. We'll start with the letter B to see how it mutates after un, and then we'll practice using it in a phrase as well. Let's start with our B word, which is Bristol, which means Bristol, big city in England. Bristol. So a word beginning with B is going to change and start with the letter M. Bristol mutates to Mryste. If you want to say in Bristol in Welsh, in is un, but in front of the now mutated word Mryste, the un becomes an spelt Y-M. The reason the un changes to in front of Mryste is to make it easier to say. If you said un followed by Mryste, it's a little awkward to pronounce. You'd have to take a tiny breath. Mryste. But and Mryste, they get run together like one word, so it's easier to say. Mryste. In Bristol. Mryste. I'll slow it down. Mryste. You're actually running the M from into the M from Mryste. Run them together as one M. Mryste. In Bristol. Mryste. Dwi'n byw Mryste. I live in Bristol. Dwi'n byw Mryste. So I am going to give you a Welsh place name beginning with B, and I want you to fit it in our I live in sentence. Dwi'n byw and then the place name. And remember to mutate the place name after Okay, so here is a place name. Beaumaris, which is a former county town of the island of Anglesey and was originally a Viking settlement. So put Beaumaris into a sentence. Say, I live in Beaumaris. That's right. Dwi'n byw Beaumaris. Dwi'n byw Beaumaris. Notice how and Beaumaris run together. Let's try one more. There is a university city called Bangor. We emphasise the R in Welsh though. Bangor. It's in northwest Wales, and the origins of Bangor date back to the founding of a monastery on the site of Bangor Cathedral in the early 6th century. So I want you to say, I live in Bangor. Da iawn, very good. The phrase is, Dwi'n byw Mangor. Dwi'n byw Mangor. Now let's look at how the nasal mutation affects words beginning with the letter C. Let's start with the capital city of Wales, Cardiff, or in Welsh, Caerdydd. Caerdydd. Spelled C-A-E-R-D-Y-D-D. The first syllable ends with a rolling R, Caer, and the double D at the end of the second syllable gives us a th sound, dydd. So the full word would be Caerdydd. Cardiff, Caerdydd. When we use un in front of a word beginning with C, such as Caerdydd, the C gets replaced with NGH, which creates a ng sound. Nghaerdydd. Nghaerdydd. The un in front of the word becomes an ng, spelled Y-N-G, and the two words ng and Nghaerdydd run together and sound like one word. In Cardiff would not be Nghaerdydd, but Nghaerdydd. I'll slow it down. Nghaerdydd. Nghaerdydd. In Cardiff. So let's make a full sentence starting with Mae hi'n byw. She lives or she is living. Let's break that down. First of all, we have the pronoun for she in Welsh, which is slightly confusing because she in Welsh is he. He. Spelt H-I, and sounds like the English pronoun he, meaning the man, him. But in Welsh, it means she. I know, confusing, but you'll soon get used to it, I promise. I did, so you certainly will. So let's get back to that phrase, mae hi'n byw. Mae means is. We've already learnt that he in Welsh means she. Apostrophe N and byw create the word living. So, mae hi'n byw, she is living, followed by in Cardiff, yng Nghaerdydd. Here's the full sentence. Mae hi'n byw yng Nghaerdydd. She lives in Cardiff. Mae hi'n byw yng Nghaerdydd. Here are some other Welsh place names beginning with the letter C. Casnewydd, which in English is Newport, the third largest city in Wales. Casnewydd. Next we have Caergybi, which means Hollyhead. Caergybi. Hollyhead is the largest town in the county of Anglesey and is situated on Holy Island. Now the island is linked to the rest of Anglesey by a large causeway known locally as the Cob. So Hollyhead is Caergybi. Caergybi. I now want you to make the sentence, she lives in Hollyhead. Da iawn. Very good. It's mae hi'n byw yng Nghaergybi. Mae hi'n byw yng Nghaergybi. Now let's look at how the nasal mutation affects words beginning with the letter D. Let's start by learning a few Welsh place names that begin with the letter D. Dinbych y Pysgod is the Welsh name for Tenby. Dinbych y Pysgod. A pretty harbour town and seaside resort, its hilltop position led to its early settlement as a Welsh stronghold, which was replaced in medieval times by a Norman castle and a walled town. Dinbych y Pysgod. I'll slow it down. Dinbych y Pysgod. Dinbych y Pysgod. Tenby. Here is another place name beginning with D. Dinas Powys. Dinas Powys. It's a large village 5 miles outside of Cardiff, which takes its name from the Dinas Powys hill fort that dates back to the Iron Age. Dinas Powys. This next place name is a beautiful coastal town in England. I'm going to give you the name of the place and then I'm going to show you how it will mutate after un. Devon is a lovely part of England, on the coast, beautiful place to go, and Devon in Welsh is Dyfnaint. Dyfnaint. It sounds like you have seen 9 doves. 9 doves. Just imagine you're looking out at the sky on a sunny day and there flying in formation swooping down are 9 doves. Doves, 9 of them. Doves, 9. Dyfnaint. Dyfnaint. When Dyfnaint mutates after un, we just change the D to an N. Dyfnaint to Nyfnaint. Nyfnaint. When Dyfnaint mutates to Nyfnaint after un, there's no change to the un. It's un-Nyfnaint. But those 2 N's, the N at the end of un and the N at the beginning of Nyfnaint, roll together as if you're saying one word. Un-Nyfnaint. In Devon, un-Nyfnaint. Un-Nyfnaint. Now, let's make a full sentence. I want you to say, you live in Devon. We will use the informal form, which you would use when talking to family, friends, children, etc. Wyt ti'n byw? You live. Wyt ti'n byw? Followed by the Welsh for in Devon. Try making the full sentence, you live in Devon. Da iawn wir. Very well done. It's wyt ti'n byw yn Nyfnaint? You live in Devon. Wyt ti'n byw yn Nyfnaint? Wyt ti'n byw yn Nyfnaint? Let's look at how the nasal mutation affects words beginning with the letter G. First, we need a place name. Now, there's a county in England as you cross the bridge from Wales called Somerset. It includes the cities Bath and Bristol, beautiful part of the country, and Somerset in Welsh is Gwlad yr Haf. Literally means the summer country. Gwlad yr Haf. To mutate Gwlad yr Haf after un, we just add an N in front of it. Gwlad yr Haf. Gwlad yr Haf. Just a very light N sound at the beginning of the word. I'll slow it down for you. Gwlad yr Haf. Gwlad yr Haf. That mutation happens when un is in front of the word. And when it's the letter G that is being mutated, the un in front of it becomes an ung. Y-N-G. So the full phrase in Somerset would be yng Gwlad yr Haf. But as before, those two words run in together. the ng at the end of ang and the ng at the beginning of ngwlad yr haf run together and sound like one word. Ngwlad yr haf. In Somerset. Ngwlad yr haf. Now I want you to make a full sentence. I want you to say, they live in Somerset. All you have to do is put maen nhw'n byw. They live, or they are living, maen nhw'n byw, in front of the Welsh words for in Somerset. They live in Somerset. Try to say that sentence now. It is maen nhw'n byw yng ngwlad yr haf. Maen nhw'n byw. They live yng ngwlad yr haf. In Somerset. Maen nhw'n byw yng ngwlad yr haf. Now I want you to try and mutate another word beginning with the letter G. This is a very small town, 8 miles outside of Swansea. It's not a well-known place, as some of the others on this list are, but I had to mention it as I grew up there. It's called Gorseinon. In Welsh, it's pronounced with more emphasis. Gorseinon. Gorseinon. The story behind the name is generally accepted to have originated with the battle between Prince Meredydd and Einon Hywel in 991 AD. Having defeated Meredydd and his army, Einon Hywel camped his army on marshland near Penllygau for a time in case Meredydd should return. From that day on, it became known as Gorseinon, Einon's Marsh. Now, I want you to say in Gorseinon. Remember to say the Welsh Gorseinon. Da iawn, very good. Yng Gorseinon. In Gorseinon. Yng Gorseinon. Let's finish today's lesson with a full sentence. I want you to say, she lives in Gorseinon. The answer is, mae hi'n byw yng Gorseinon. She lives in Gorseinon. Mae hi'n byw yng Gorseinon. Well, I hope you have enjoyed today's lesson and found it useful. If you like what we're doing here and you'd like to support us, please have a look at my Patreon page. It's www.patreon.com/learnwelsh. There's lots of levels of donations you can give there. And anything that you give, you'll get some great extra learning materials as a thank you. www.patreon.com/learnwelsh. If you want to get in touch, you can email me at learnwelshpodcast@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter at LWPodcast, and I'm also on Facebook. Just type in Learn Welsh Podcast and join the Facebook club or the Facebook page. Well, it's time for me to say goodbye, and I'll see you soon. Hwyl!